Good morning, this is Kel Land on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you begin your day. A Hartford chiropractor is in jail this morning accused of rape and sexual contact with a child in his care. Court papers say 31-year-old Joel Martins began sexual contact with the victim when she was 15 years old while he was helping coach a workout for the West Central track and field team.
Over the next 2 years, the victim says her chiropractic care turned into sex with Martins more than 100 times. While his rape and sexual contact charges involve the same victim, the Minnehaha County Sheriff's Office is asking the public to come forward with any other information.
Martins is a chiropractor in the Hartford and worked with many student athletes in the area.
Martins was also a part-time strength and conditioning coach at USF, but hasn't worked at the university in over 3 years. Chiro Sport released a statement saying, quote, "We have a zero tolerance policy and do not condone these types of behaviors. We have been lucky to serve the Hartford community and are heartbroken to hear of these allegations." A search is underway in rural Lincoln County for a person involved in a crash with a stolen vehicle. Law enforcement says a car stolen from Canton was found near 276th Street and 482nd Avenue Tuesday morning.
At first, authorities were concerned the vehicle may have hit someone walking in the area. Further investigation revealed the only person hurt was the driver. Deputies say the vehicle hit an approach several miles from where the car was abandoned. Police in Mitchell are investigating several incidents in the western part of the city. Officials say several garages and vehicles were entered in the area around Patton Young Park Monday night into Tuesday morning. Around the same time, a white pickup was stolen from the 600 block of South Janita Street.
Police say the pickup is believed to have been involved in a hit and run in the 1300 block of West Havens Avenue. Authorities say it was also involved in a short pursuit. If you have any information, you are asked to call the Mitchell Area Crime Stoppers.
Now let's get a check of our weather with meteorologist Scott Monk. Good morning, Scott.
All right. Good morning there, Dan. Good morning, everybody. Another hot and humid day today. Temperatures in the 90s and the 100s for afternoon highs. 97 Sioux Falls and Aberdeen, 103 in Pierre, 98 in Rapid City. Cooler temperatures should arrive just in time for the weekend. I'm talking more seasonal numbers in the 80s as we continue to watch these scattered showers and thunderstorms, mainly during the late evening hours and for the overnight. Brian will have more details on your forecast coming up.
Thank you, Scott. A Sioux Falls resident caught an unexpected visitor on his security camera over the weekend.
Travis Palmer captured this video of a mountain lion walking around the back of his home at 5 o'clock Sunday morning. He says he wanted to get the word out that animals like these can make their way into the city.
There was nothing as far as any evidence that they showed that there was anything disrupted or broke or anything, but we do have a slough that's in the back part of here that maybe that's where it came from, because when it hit my place, it was heading east.
Sioux Falls Animal Control says if you happen to see a mountain lion, do not engage or try to contain it and call for help. A Laverne man tells KLAN News that Sioux Falls doctor, Dr. Beth Lapka, saved his wife's life.
Thankfully, 26-year-old Shelby George is now doing much better.
Better. She's an outpatient care. I've been an outpatient for about 3 weeks. It's just one appointment a week. They're just checking her blood and making sure that she's going the right direction.
Check out this report right here on our website to meet Dr. Lapka, who, surrounded by her colleagues, received recognition for the care she gave. It's considered the most historic and significant airplane from World War II that is still flying today.
That's All Brother led the main invasion over Normandy that dropped 13,000 paratroopers into battle. Now that same plane is back in the air and will be on display at this weekend's air show in Sioux Falls.
I think about a bunch of young men jumping out of an airplane at night into a bunch of German anti-aircraft fire and doing it because they had to save the free world.
That's All Brother flew in every major invasion during World War II. The air show is this weekend in Sioux Falls. We'll be having more on that in the coming days.
That's a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get one last look at your weather with meteorologist Brian Carstens.
Okay, a couple of items here to talk about. First of all, chance of storms tonight not as high. We're looking at just a marginal risk here across parts of central South Dakota. We'll look at Futurecast in just a moment on that. Tomorrow or tomorrow night, marginal risk in green, and that's kind of a broad brush area here across most of South Dakota. Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, kind of your typical chance of widely scattered nocturnal thunderstorms. But Friday night could get a little more active. There are some subtle clues that we're going to see more thunderstorms in the southeast here, and we'll see how that all pans together. But already we're at a slight risk level in Sioux Falls, and because it's a day 3 outlook, that's a little more significant. So keep an eye to the skies. Of course, last night we had storms, didn't we, around Miller, Huron, kind of south and west of those communities, and then that big storm intersected Mitchell. There were some 80-mile-an-hour winds out toward Ethan. We've kind of cleared the decks on all of that scattered rain from last night, and so the heat takes over today. And for some of us, it's hot and humid. That's the case in the southeast, but I would argue for Pierre and West River folks, it's a little drier heat today. The dew points are a lot lower, and so that kind of works into the forecast. Tonight, you can see a couple of clues about those storm chances, a few dots there near Aberdeen and Watertown. If you look carefully, too, it even tries to generate a little bit of activity in southwest Minnesota and northwest Iowa after midnight. Can't rule that out, so just keep that in mind. And then tomorrow, hot day again. 90s are pretty common. Pierre probably close to 100 for a high. But then tomorrow night, some activity in eastern Wyoming. That could march across parts of South Dakota. And I think this cycle coming in out of the west, it's going to keep coming at us off and on the next several days. The timing of all of that gets tricky, though, the farther you go out in the 7-day forecast. So my thoughts are overnight or late evening storm chances. Day part forecasts are mainly dry, and we're going to be a little cooler. We're going to be in the 80s starting this weekend into early next week. So that'll feel better. Aberdeen also, too, back in the low to mid 80s by the weekend. We'll put in some of those 30% chances of storms. The Friday night storm round looks maybe a little bit better at this point. And Pierre and Rapid City also, a lot of these 20 and 30% chances of rain. But as we get to organizing each one of these, the hope is over the course of time, it'll help us out a little bit on moisture, especially if we can cut those highs down and get out of the 100s and go back to some 80s and 90s. Rapid City, too, it looks like toned back here to 87 on Friday, 88 Saturday. Check out more of the details with your forecast online at KELOLAND.com.